how are you? I hope you're keeping well, you're keeping safe, and you're still being productive. My name is Marion, and I'm the lead events planner at Majestic Events, and welcome to our channel. Now today I'm really excited because I have an amazing woman, someone who has changed the events industry completely, and I'm not going to do any justice by introducing her to you. I'm just going to say her name and then hand it over to her, okay? So welcome, Kezy from Zuri Events. I am so excited, you have no idea.
Gosh, thank you, Marion.
Oh.
I'm really honored that you could have me here.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have this conversation with you and to see how it goes.
I'm really happy because I think you're the first planner, as far as I'm concerned, who's coming onto this channel, who I didn't start having a relationship with until very recently. And ladies, what you need to know, or rather, let's say ladies, guys, what you need to know is the first time that I met Kezy, I gave her a phone call because we used to take hire out equipment from Zuri Events. And so I was calling her. I had been away because I'd lost my mom and I came back and I had to touch base with her on a couple of things. And can I be blunt? Okay, so we owed her money. All right, so I had to come and call and say, look, I've just come back, yada, yada, yada. So she explained. And so I used to have items as well. And so I'd said, okay, one of the ways we can bring the balance down or the debt down is if we could hire from each other whenever you need what I have, you could take from me. And you know what she said? You know what she told me? She said, that's fine, but I'm even changing my business model. You actually said that's not my business model. And I was like, who talks like that? And I think that's where I knew that you were a true businesswoman, simply because of that word. Yeah. Anyone who uses business model on a normal conversation over the phone, I respect. Yeah. So I just wanted to tell us, I have always known you as an event planner. I've always known you as someone who hires out event supplies. But you don't see yourself that way. So I would love you to give us your journey. So how did Zuri Events start and when did it start?
Okay. So thank you once again for having me here. I think I would say, quite frankly, how do I describe myself? How do I view myself? I'm an entrepreneur. A very value-driven, impact-driven, sustainability-driven entrepreneur who simply finds themselves invested in the meetings and events industry. So I have never viewed myself as an event planner or wedding planner or even event supplier or
do you know that planner. Is the most shocking thing because
never, ever.
Shiko was here last week and she said, a couple of weeks ago, and she said, I am not an event planner. I call myself an eventpreneur. And you're coming and you're saying that, you're not an event planner or anything. You are an entrepreneur who has an interest in the meeting and conference space.
I'm passionate about business and trade. I'm passionate about trade and business, not necessarily passionate about events.
So tell us.
I'm an entrepreneur who is running a business in this space. So maybe a quick just run through Zuri Events and how did we get where we are. So we started in 2007, specifically November. So we're just about 13 years in just a few days. A few days will be teenage.
Teenager, you can do as you please,
And we began very interesting because a little background, I had, graduated from law school, was in practice, and at the point of setting up the business in 2007, was just graduating from a master's degree in international relations.
Okay.
And one of the things I would say, if you ask what I'm passionate about and why trade and business are the triggers for me, is issues of, I think, employment. Because at that point, it bothered me, if you could take an idea, incubate an idea, build systems and processes around an idea, and create a thriving, profitable, sustainable business, how much impact you would have on issues of employment creation, on issues of community impact, stuff like that. And it occurred to me that, there was somebody in the industry that I could talk to who, unfortunately, the only one who I knew in the industry then was the one who had a year before just handled my wedding. So I spoke to the lady and I said, what's all this? And, good thing is that, I value mentorship. And this lady took me through what you do to set up a business in the industry. So I came in the business armed with, just an idea. I want to develop an idea, create an idea, incubate it, create systems around it, and then push that idea to a point where it is thriving, it's sustainable, it's profitable, and can be replicated.
This was your thought process?
That was my
in
thought
2007?
process. In 2007.
Guys, are you seeing why I'm an entrepreneur?
That was my thought process in 2007. It wasn't, about creating a big name in the market. For me, it's take an idea, systemize it, build processes around it until that point where it can be replicated. It can, and why, for what reason? Generate employment, use it as a tool for mentorship, equip, and then definitely you create a penny. It was, I have to say, at that point, honestly, I had a lot of opportunities open for me. Just leaving graduate school, and a lot of opportunities open for me. But then veering off and setting up a business, of course, had its own set of issues. Even with my friends and family, wonder where are you coming from? Why now? But I'm glad I did it, Marion. Okay. I'm so glad I did it. I have a bag for business. I have a bag for sustainable business. And, the last 13 years have been a walk of a journey of implementing an idea, improving on it, innovating around it. And
the way you say you started, I don't think I've ever heard, to be specific, a woman say that, I just got into it because I thought it was a sustainable business. I went and looked. People actually get into the events industry because of passion. I hear a lot of people, including myself, I had a passion. I even know someone who has a series called, Turning Your Passion into Profit. Yeah. What's your take on that? Was there any passion at all? Where did you start? First of all, did you start in weddings? And when you started, was it passion?
The first thing I did was, of course, like I said, there was this person that I went to, and they mentored me into the entry into the industry. Yes. And when I mentor you into something, your low-hanging fruit will be where I am at. So you benchmark against me.
Against the person who introduced you into the industry.
So where they were at that point, and what was the entry point into the market at that point was inventory. So I got in, invested quite some money on outdoor event equipment. The tentage, that staging. Eventually, we stocked a lot of indoor event equipment as well. So we had a lot of event supplies. So you would call me back then, or you would call Zuri an event supplier, because we had the tentage, the furniture, and all that. And my goal was to penetrate the corporate market. I was very clear setting out that I wanted to handle corporate business. Very clear. Okay. I wanted to provide an end-to-end solution for corporate organizations. So the issues of the quality of the product, how can they utilize the events platform to communicate their brand ethos and their brand values and all that. So it was very clear I wanted to go for the corporate market. However, and it's very interesting because I started the business, put in a resignation, and rolled out the business and got a client on day one, a corporate client on day one. On day one.
How did that happen?
Because, and I do a little bit of mentoring. I tell young people, at your point of exit, manage your exit. Okay. If you think you're exiting one phase and entering the next phase, manage your exit very well.
Okay. Expound. manage the exit?
I said I was in practice, in legal practice at that point, and I began to do my handover. And one of the things I needed to do, was not required to do, but I felt I needed to do, was to call all my clients and tell all my clients, guys, I'm handing over your file to so and so. I'm exiting, and of course they would ask, Kezy, where are you going to? What law firm are you going to? What organization are you joining? I said, no, I have a startup. I recently did, form a business, and I'm rolling out in the next month to officially run this business. And they would say, what are you providing? And my clients would get interested. Remember, I'm talking to lawyers, handing over briefs and all that. And they said, no, we need to introduce you to a marketing department. And that's in one of the brands that I worked with many years thereafter. They introduced me to their marketing department, who interestingly had an event coming up in a week.
Oh, wow.
And they said, oh, so do you have this? Do you have that? And I said, I have it. So can you send us a quotation?
Yes.
And I said, a quotation. In legal practice, we send something different. We send fee notes.
Yes.
Now here I'm asked for a quotation. And yes, so I called the lady who was mentoring me and said, guess I need a quotation. How do I even do it? And I got tutored into that, and I did the quotation, and I got the brief. I got the work.
There's something you've said which I think a lot of us don't do when we're first in employment, and then we move out into, we decide we're going to go into a business. We don't exit. Most of us don't exit the way you did. You don't let people know, you don't hand over, so you don't get that opportunity to tell people where you're going, and probably even, I think that was really good. And that probably is one of the reasons why you got straight into, getting a job.
Yeah. Marion, I keep saying this, that your business takes the character of the entrepreneur.
Yes.
Your business will never go where you have never been. Okay. Your business eventually becomes who you are. It does. It has a way of taking the person, the character, the attributes, the values of the vision bearer or of the founder. And if, honestly, I am going to exit one scene with the hope of entering another one, if my personal values are not reflected in the way I exit, they will never be reflected in the way I enter, or in the way that I set up for the next phase, So personal values, for me, it's, you don't leave your values behind just because you exited one position to take another. You carry them with you because they form a foundation for who you're becoming.
Yeah. I look at that as integrity. I look at that as transparency, just letting people know. So I can imagine you get your job, your first events job, in almost a week from when you leave your legal firm. Am I right to say that probably you didn't go through the survival stage at all? Where, you paying the bills was a hard thing, and, probably you're looking into the savings that you had from your salary and all. Did you go through that, or was it?
Survival stage could come in different forms. So it's not just about being cash strapped. It's also on how you manage cash and the flow of cash. Because yes, I have exited. Remember, I am the only employee of this business at that point, at the formation stage. Yeah. And I am now scouting for employees who are coming on contract basis.
Yeah.
So I am the one at that point who is responsible for managing our accounts.
Yes.
I am the one responsible for managing the project, the project
says
manager.
You're everything.
I'm the one responsible for quality assurance.
Yes.
I'm the one responsible even for debt follow-up. So survival is not just not having money in the bank. It's also managing your resources or your lack of resources. So I did go through a phase of that. I would say probably a year, or I think less than a year, much less than a year, to be frank, because as soon as we did that event, like I said, I had begun to talk to my peers, my colleagues, in the industry I was coming from, and they would make references. So my problem at that point was not lack of business. No, it wasn't.
Guys, did you hear that? My problem was not lack of business.
No. Marion, I'll actually tell you, quite frankly, one of the biggest projects that Zuri ever handled, I think, might be the biggest in terms of volume, also in terms of margin. The biggest project I ever handled was handled in year one of the business. Yes.
Way.
Yes, because it was a 30-day contract with huge, massive volumes. I needed to deliver about close to 300 very large tents. Back then we didn't have the counties, we had the provinces.
Yes.
And I was managing a project for an NGO that was going to run for 30 days across the whole of Western Province. That was in year one of the business. And so, again, something that I could talk to you forever about is knowing how to build collaborative linkages. Because I didn't have that volume of tents. I didn't. This is year one. I don't have that volume of equipment. I don't have that volume of expertise in terms of workforce, in terms of trucks on the road. Right. I didn't even have a truck on the road.
300 tents.
I didn't. And this is large. We're not talking.
This is year one.
We're not talking the small, hundreds. We're talking very, large setups. We had, if I remember correctly, that's 13 years ago. We had the entire province. It was 30 days, and then we would run simultaneously about 11, 12 locations at any one time, simultaneously. So at any one time, so you're in this region, you're running about 12 setups for 6 days, then you break down, move into another location. So it was massive logistics. It was massive in terms of the infrastructure required. And where did I get it? I partnered with people, with a company. Yes, one of the oldest companies in the region here. Partnered with them, and I remember going and talking to the business owner there. He's looking at me and thinking, this young girl,
are you crazy? How did you happen?
Who is your father?
You know what, Kezy? We can go on and on. You said before we started the interview that your success and how you got into this industry had nothing to do with passion. And you think, and it's your take, that passion is somehow some of the deterring, it deters us from getting to where we want to go in terms of business, in terms of growth. So before you answer that question, I'm going to turn to the viewers and say, if you want to find out more about this intriguing subject, is passion a good thing in your business? Please stay tuned. All right? We'll see you next week on Wednesday. Bye.
What?